We call the meeting to order at 5:30, December 10th. Okay.
Turn the music on.
Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. I know this time of year is a busy time for people to carve time out of their schedules, but thank you for coming. And thank you for the people who are in the audience here as well for coming and I'm sure participating. And thanks for the people who watch us on Channel 9. It's always nice to hear comments that people are watching, and hopefully more people will watch, and certainly want to invite anyone to come to our meetings at any time. They're usually the second Thursday of the month, and we're happy to have people come and hear what goes on. So thank you. And thank Linda for putting out some treats.
You're welcome.
Much appreciated.
Christmas trees.
Especially when you haven't had lunch. Minutes, why don't we look at our November minutes?
Introduction
First.
Sorry about that.
Know everybody.
Well, why don't we start with Pat over here?
Pat Conway, Secretary.
Janice Limblom, Board Member.
Audrey Reedy.
Lucille
Vice
Sorrentino,
President.
Board Member.
J.D. Miller, Board Member.
Marty O'Toole, Selectman Liaison.
Gordon Price eating cookies and chairman.
Linda Hayes, COA Director.
Jill Johnston, COA Administrative Assistant.
Great. Okay, now we can go with the minutes, which Janice, not Janice, Pat. Did Pat, you do the minutes? Oh, for some reason I was thinking you didn't do it last.
This is her last, this is her swan song.
Yeah, well, I remember that threat. No.
It was more the fact than the threat.
Do you have your flight,
Oh, yeah.
scheduled already?
I had looked them over earlier yesterday. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. Anyone have anything to comment on the minutes of November? If not, I would entertain a motion, I guess, to accept them.
I make a motion.
A second.
All those in favor? All right, accepted. Why don't we go right on to Linda and Jill?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for being here. December. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. And I want to introduce Jill Johnston, who is our office administrative assistant, who does quite a bit for all of us. So she's been here. Yep, she's been here easily 10 years, maybe 11 at this point, I think. Or did you just have your 10th anniversary?
Almost 12.
Almost 12. Got that wrong. Anyway, happy to have her. So just in keeping with trying to rotate the staff through, she doesn't do a report for us for the meeting, but she certainly is integral to much of what we do at the senior center here. So it's nice for you to know her, and for her to know you, and also hear what we might talk about at a meeting periodically. So it took her a while to get here, actually. We kept, somehow, we didn't get her in for a little while, but thanks for coming, Jill. So not too much to report. The Aging Mastery Program, which is the first thing on my report, it has certainly monopolized us to some degree, especially myself and Lisa, who have been coordinating it and facilitating it the day of and preparing breakfast with the help of some indispensable volunteers. It's really just been a fun 12 weeks, I think, for everyone. So it was completed today. We did our 12th week today. So out of 27, we had, I think my number actually is old. I believe I now have 18 to 20 completers, which just means that there was a required number of sessions that they needed to attend.
Did they get a prize?
They will. They do get a prize. But they were helped to not just attend the sessions for a certain number of points, but to have the session topics, the weekly topics, reinforced by certain activities. So they got points for those, and then we've collected those booklets and we'll tally those points. But they do get, it's actually not the most important part of the program, the points and the prize, but it's not a lot of fun to do that. I think they appreciated the sessions themselves, which we've said before. So we're giving a little breakfast next week for those that were considered completers. And those that didn't, I mean, they were happy with what they came to, but if they came to less than 9 out of the 12, then, they could even come back and take it again. But so we were happy with that. Emergency preparedness.
Linda, is that something that would typically be repeated in another, whatever, year or two, or?
I actually thought I said that, and yes, maybe that was another report. In fact, they would encourage us, and this was grant funded through the Mass Council on Aging, who sort of took it over to disseminate it in Massachusetts, but I think I'd explained before, it was really developed by the National Council on Aging, so they're involved, Mass Council's involved. So they hope that we could now hold it again next year and every year, but maybe find some local sponsorship to help us with it. So the grant funded, we could have hired somebody else to facilitate. It did take a lot of staff time, but we had Lisa, and I had done it before, so it was sort of nice to be able to just see how it went. But the food, weekly food, it's expensive to serve healthy food, as we all have heard. So, not just, right, we have pastry and different things that we might put up for other occasions, but we were very careful with the oatmeal and the fruit, and that's expensive. We could potentially have used the money for some speakers. We didn't really need to, and in fact, in Lisa's report, you'll see some of the local people that spoke for us was tremendous. We did have some help from South Shore Hospital and use some of the professionals there. So that's usually the way you can hope to do it, and we did. We were able to do that, but. And then the money could be used also for the rewards. So yes, we would do it again next year. But as I said to them today, it was 12 weeks. That's a quarter of the year, in fact. So to think about doing it twice a year, it would be almost perpetual. So once a year, we think we've decided that that's pretty good. And we have some other programs that we do want to run. Emergency preparedness, we did hold that. Not a huge showing of people. We had about 10 to 12, I think, that came forward. We had a representative from MEMA, plus Laura came to talk about the shelter, Laura Manier. We had representative from the fire department. In fact, the chief came, in fact. We didn't know he was coming, but that was wonderful that he was able to attend and talk to them just about the importance, and also about this home safety inspection that they are prepared to do with the help of the Red Cross and sponsorship from the Red Cross. So we're collecting names. I think I might have mentioned this last meeting as well, for interested seniors over 60 to have this done in their home.
That's great.
If the health fair that we had in May, there was a sign-up sheet for the fire department for those who were interested to have their, fire.
To have the inspection done?
Yeah.
That was just this past?
Yep.
May, and
so I don't know that ever happened, so I hope this will.
they had offered even a year ago to do it, which they did do for those who may have requested it. This time, it's also another grant that Elena from the fire department had written with the Red Cross. So they're sponsoring the detectors,
Great.
the CO detectors and the smoke alarms. Our fire department will provide batteries if people just need those changed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So it is great. So I have some names. We're starting to collect them. That was in the Mariner a couple of times, and they have seen that. Anyway, it was a great presentation, all told. The Rotary Club, just to sort of complete that whole cycle, donation is complete and approved. And in fact, you are looking at that wonderful set of equipment. So
TV over the mantle.
yep, it's great. So it's a sound bar, television, the DVD player, which actually the Rotary is funding specifically the TV and the sound bar with their money from both the fundraiser with the Magician and then also the grant that Lucille had written from the Rotary Foundation. And then the knitters, our senior center knitters, we had a couple of sweaters donated that needed a little finishing with the arms, and they collected some money among themselves, had one of the expert knitters add those, and then they raffled those sweaters off over a couple of months' time. And so the money they raised from that, we are using that, I believe, to pay for another of the pieces, the DVD player probably. And then I just supported out of our programs account the installation, more or less, in some of the hardware and whatever has to go into putting that thing up. So it was well done, very happy, and we tested it out this morning. We continue to encourage donations. We do have the Rotary Giving Trees here that we've been encouraging people to help support. And then in addition, just to thank the Rotary and its members who've been really supportive of us anyway, but we had Mimi Svenning and Lucille as well, Lucille Sorrentino, actually talked to our Aging Mastery group. It was a session on community engagement. So as an example of how much can be done and what connections can be made and how enriching that can be for people, they spoke about that, and it was wonderful. Everybody liked that, and they might have got a couple of members out of that. Suggestions from the board at any time, from anyone, for other collaborations are always welcomed toward our objective here of connecting seniors with the community as often as possible. We do have some involvement, I should mention again, of course, with the Clergy Association, primarily through Laura's role and client support needs, but as well, and that could be stepped up a little bit too. So the Senior Tax Workoff Program I'd mentioned last time, I am now responsible for it and taking applications from seniors over 60 for $1,000 off of their property tax bill during that fiscal year. It's a rate of $10 an hour, 100 hours. I am or will match candidates to what positions might be available, and then also will be working toward developing more opportunities within all the municipal departments to increase the number of slots available. So it's yet to sort of happen. We had 9, I believe, for the last fiscal year, and we will work on raising that. Last month, November 19th, and I had reported prior to that to all of you what I was going to say, but I did meet with the Building Reuse Committee here and presented my views and my matrix on some considerations for space and priorities and my views about that. Their response was positive, I think, and I just look forward to the next steps. They talked about a study they were doing and their timetable sort of for bringing things to the public as they complete each of the steps. So.
Have you not been contacted by anyone from the parent company that they've contracted with?
I have not yet,
You have
no.
not? I know it's due to be received next Tuesday. That doesn't leave many days for,
Right.
contacts to be
consideration.
made, yeah. I don't know if they're still holding to that date of Tuesday, December 15th or not.
I want to say that for, January 6th was when they hoped to maybe have things happening after making a selection or something like that.
Uh-huh,
But I don't know if that was in the minutes or not.
yeah. All
Did
right.
they give you any feedback, ask you any questions?
They did ask some questions.
They did,
you know,
yeah.
One of the questions had been whether or not the space that we were proposing, let's say, fitness room facilities and multi-purpose rooms, the dining room, kitchen for that matter, could that be used as well by the rec department or other groups? And that would be the intention, of course. I think it was a little confusing when he asked the question. Did he mean we were sharing? And the idea really, and his intent was to say, no, at night or when we're not using it, or can we, could that building and that space be even ever-changing and available to others? And that would be absolutely the intent, I would think. It would be great. So that was, I think, the most significant question. They were wonderful. Just not really too much training. Lisa is actually going for 2 days for a healthy eating evidence-based program training. That's another, certainly a large-scale trend among senior centers, something we already do through something called Matter of Balance. I think I've mentioned I am trained in chronic disease self-management and pain self-management, but I haven't done it since I've been here because you need 2. So we're really turning our attention to trying to bring those programs. They're either 6 or 8-week programs. So with Lisa trained and with some of the VNAs also trained, we'll be able to hold those next year, maybe in succession or with a little bit of overlap. I did submit a request for 2 grants through MCOA for next year, one for a new exercise class or program targeting falls prevention, just to supplement maybe the Tai Chi for healthy aging that we do now. It could pay for an instructor. It could get someone else trained to be an instructor. It could simply pay for the program to run. And then also an event I'd like to hold. It's a 1-day Live Your Life Well, which I had done before, and it was started by the Cape Cod group of senior centers. It's really a lot of fun and a great program. It rotates 10 different topic speakers through tables of 4 participants, and it's a different topic, and it's almost like a speed dating. They might have a topic like creativity or healthy eating or physical activity or
That's
intellectual
different from your
stimulation.
mastery? The previous one?
Different from Aging Mastery, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Thanks. So just something I've been meaning to do, and it really targets seniors who might be isolated or people just mental wellness in general, so it's great. That's the intent. Several meetings this month. I don't need to go over them, but they're there. And the new equipment, just mentioning that in detail. And we actually had another donation of a Keurig coffee machine, which is very nice. Mostly because even when we make a big pot of coffee, we don't then make decaf. So it would be nice if we could offer decaf, but at the same time, when people drop in and we don't make a big pot of coffee, they could have coffee. So it's very nice. And I also want to take the time, and I believe I've done it before, but just how grateful we are for the volunteer efforts, in particular Betty Johnson and other friends. She occasionally recruits who pick up the generous Panera bread donations and the pastries, treats that we then can serve. So if we have cafe talks or any of the groups that come in, it's so nice. They do appreciate that we can put things out, and that's really been a big help for us. I did submit my budget last Friday, the 4th, and then met with the town administrator and the town accountant on Monday to, Tricia goes through it all weekend, makes her own recommendations, reviews it, makes her own recommendations at each of the meetings she then holds for the next 2 weeks. So it's generally a level-funded budget. I was able really to shave a little off a couple of line items because they can be shared by the formula grant, and then needed to increase a few line items, like utilities for that, just because they're more expensive. So in the end, it becomes more or less level funded. Laura's position is now, so I have had her at 100% for the last 2 rounds, but now 60% of her salary and benefits will go to the health department because she's working under the health department with a dotted line to us as well, and over 60 is really still her priority if those cases come up, but she does deal in a lot of other situations in town that require her skill set. So we're only supporting 40% of her budget, so that actually saw a decrease in our budget too. But it's not fully approved, vetted yet, so that's as much as I can report on as far as that goes. And then Lisa's report on activities, a little bit I've already said, but she just simply mentions in more detail the activities that might have warranted some highlighting and some numbers in terms of who attend or how many people attended. And also volunteers. So we do have some new volunteers, which is very nice. And the Friendly Visitor Program is, it's developing still. I think they might have mentioned that they have maybe 3 volunteers right now that they're talking with and starting to consider putting into action. Laura's report, the social services, she just mentioned the kinds of things she looks at for individuals over 60, just at risk, general, homelessness, or housing, which we continue always to get a lot of calls about. Caregiver support group, that is a monthly support group. We continue to have to advertise it, and we do put it in the newsletter along with actually a lot of other local support groups, just because they all happen at different times. It's nice for us to let people know that there are other times they can go or other places they can go. Maybe they want to go out of town, so I do include those. Generally, the people that do come to hers are coping with issues around Alzheimer's or dementia, but it is open to any caregiver. It could be any caregiver, a younger person who's taking care of their parents or a spouse, for any reason whatsoever. So any advocacy there would always be good, just because it's a good group. She did take part in the AMP topic on healthy relationships, so she did a great presentation on that for everybody. I think it was very nice. Strategies to improve communication with friends and loved ones, and just stay connected with people, because your relationships are really so important, always, but still. and maybe more so as we age. She also took part in the emergency preparedness, as I mentioned. And we did try a coffee talk, which I've been wanting to start with her, and thought maybe we could rotate it even through, maybe 1 month with me, just have coffee with the director, or Laura in particular because of her skills. But just a general conversational group that allows people to get together and just have an opportunity to talk about anything that might.
How many showed for the healthy relationships?
It was actually the coffee talk, and we called it Navigating the Holidays, just as a starting point.
Did you have a good group?
And only, no. So one person did come, but that was it. So it takes a while to get it started. It was in the newsletter. And again, I don't know sometimes if it's marketing, if it's publicizing better, or if it's a non-interest thing, or it's just sometimes you have to see it how many times to decide that you will come. So I think we'd like to try to continue with it and keep it going. I've seen it be successful before. They did complete their mailing to all seniors on our emergency preparedness call list, which I think numbered about 80. So we'll see what that nets for us as well. Next is Jenny's report for outreach, which again is mostly just looking at the numbers in the different categories that she might deal with on a regular basis. What wasn't there, so I only will mention it because it might have been a little different this month, or last month, I should say, in the month before. So our Shine counselor, who's a volunteer, of course, and does see a lot of traffic come in here, and he's only with us maybe 4, it feels like more lately, times a month, but generally speaking, 4 times a month in the afternoons. But this year, they wanted to do something differently. He'd been mandated to do it a little differently and cut down on the individual appointments that he would take to help people with their Medicare Part D enrollment. So instead, we held 2 sessions, group sessions, where he spoke to them generally and could answer their questions as a group. But then they were given the applications and could take care of that. They did do the searches that they do to find out the medications and different prescriptions that they might need, and how much those cost, or whether they can get them at better prices throughout. But so his numbers, which aren't included there, he had 30 people come in and see him in a month's time, and that's, again, 4 days worth of just 3 or 4 hours of being here, which might have been more had he not done the other sessions. So he did.
How many people came to those? Were those
Actually, those were well attended. I would say 20, probably
For the
each
group
time.
one.
Then moving on to Quincy Ann's. Anyway, the transportation report is a little bit down. It could have been the Thanksgiving holiday. We are using the vans still, and a little bit more for some cultural trips. So she mentions the van mileage has increased. They did go to Rockport one day, so that would do it.
Nice. How many can fit in the van?
Well, that's an interesting question. We have 3 vans, and they are all different. So there's I believe we have an 8-person, a 10-person, and a 12-person.
So we want to take everybody. Can we all go? Can we utilize the 3
Right
vans?
now, the biggest would be the 12-person.
No, I want to take 12, 10, and whatever.
Can you use
all
them all?
3 of
Oh,
those
could
3
we use all
vans?
3?
Is that a possibility?
It is a possibility, if we have the drivers who would agree to do that on the given day that we needed it, so yes.
Yeah, no, I just think that would be wonderful.
It would be wonderful. I will move on, and I just thought I would include this for your information. So the next page that you have is actually the report, just a written summary from Frank Gay, who is the GATRA Executive Director. So he went before the Board of Selectmen Tuesday night, and he gave them his report about how the public transit is going, and also they support what we do as far as transportation goes. So he gave them some information on ridership that, of course, people are asking, how is it doing? Are people on it? People think they don't see anyone on it, but we know people are taking it. We do see people on it, and
What
people...
about people that have repeated need to go to Boston? That's not a problem. We can ask them, can we utilize GATRA to take people to, let's say, the hospitals?
That is part of what we call our out-of-town medical
Yep.
transportation program, and GATRA funds everything.
So they would do it.
They do it, but we outsource it to Social Community Action Council.
Okay.
So the common term is the link, I think we call it.
Yeah,
Not here so
I
much.
think that's great. I just think it's going to be publicized. I think that's wonderful, wonderful.
Right, I mean, and you're right, and that would be a great article, I think, at this point for the Mariner, all the various ways the
Right.
monies are used, and in addition, the distinction
don't
between
think-
the public transit and that the Council on Aging still gets
I don't think
100.
people are clear
Yeah.
on exactly GATRA. They just see it going around and stopping. But
Right.
it would be nice to see how many things it could do.
Right. Well, that's the addition for the public, and then we still schedule and do what we've always
Oh, I
done.
know.
It's not even
Yeah.
different, but they do support it, or they do fund it, I should say.
You know, I think-
And he mentions that, too. It reimburses the town for services provided through the Council on Aging.
I think they could do more with their own, touting their own horn. I was in a business somewhere here in town, I don't remember which one it was, but there was a GATRA brochure holder there, and there were no pamphlets in it. Now, I'd love to have one in my office. I wish someone would
Okay.
canvass the harbor, and yeah, I'm sure most of the business people in town would love
I
to
think
put
that's right.
would love to put a little pamphlet
Actually-
holder in their
Even at the
businesses. so-
supermarket.
I gotta say,
People
I
walking
see
out
them a
or
lot of
walking
places. They're-
Yeah.
Actually, they
they're
were,
everywhere.
you know what, they actually gave them to us, and so
Oh.
we distributed
Uh-huh.
during the first
During town
campaign
hall.
for the
Yeah.
summer, and if they're out, I suppose I should get more and then do
Yeah.
that. We have
Sure.
some here, but
Okay,
if you
yeah.
want them, I can get them.
Yeah, I think, as many.
I think they're doing a new schedule right now, Linda.
Yes,
uh,
right,
for
because of the
January,
new
so then
route.
there'll be
Okay.
new ones, and at that
Right.
point,
Right.
Printing of new
Yeah.
I mean, we
brochures,
put some
yeah.
at Town Hall, we put them around town, we put
Yeah,
some at the
that's
library.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so he's also mentioning that they're proposing changes to the route, which I assume were approved because they wanted to try
Do
to,
I dare ask if they're going to include North Situate?
they're going to North Situate.
That'd be great.
And the library, which
The
they'd already
library's a
said they would do, it was just
Okay.
working it into the route and
Oh, yeah.
making the changes.
yeah, no, it's nice.
So that changes things slightly and changes, you know, a little bit of where, now they're going to cut off a little area of Country Way that's not seeing ridership anyway, just to make it easier to get to North Situate. I think it's twice a day. So those schedules will come out. He also mentions, and
I don't see that in here.
really?
But the North Situate?
No, Situate's here, but the other van.
Oh, it is the fourth bulleted item on the first front page. The town will be receiving a new
There it is.
wheelchair lift-equipped vehicle from GATRA soon with no cost to the town. So that's us. So
Yep.
we haven't previously been given a van through GATRA. We technically were given a van through Social Elder Services that we own within 7 years of having taken it. And we have the couple of other vans, one of which they don't really like, the drivers don't really like. It's an inconvenient way to get on and off for the visitors. It's a center door, and I think that's the 8-person anyway. So, long story short, we'd love a 14-person so that then we could have that many more riders on a single van. And Q and I are trying to find a day that we can go look at it and see, I need her, but just see what we think about the different ones. She knows how the drivers feel about the different vans we've been using.
How
So-
did the Christmas thing go? What Christmas means to me? Was that a successful?
That was today, I believe, right?
Oh.
The outing that they went on today to
Yeah.
Quincy, to the Common Market.
Yeah.
10 people went,
Great.
so I didn't actually hear any feedback. It was inconvenient, I will only mention it was inconvenient, because we didn't put this together when it was scheduled for today, not remembering or realizing what time they would have to leave, and we had a big group here and a presentation that was going on when the van had to come and pick people up. So honestly, it was like, felt terrible. It was sort of like, you can't let people in because the presentation obviously is right in the front here, and it was just so disruptive and unfortunate. So we had to have the van park and let people sit on the van as they were waiting for everyone to arrive, and it was unfortunate, and I felt really terrible. But it's obviously one of the challenges, one of the many challenges we run into, but they were good-natured. But if they were coming in the back door or the front door, it was crazy. Anyway, so I just thought that information would be of interest. Oh, and there's the North Situate one on the back. So, that's it for me.
I have another question.
Okay?
Do we have a 503C?
We do not. No, that's what the Friends
That's what, I know.
has.
I just want to clarify.
Right, we do
So
not.
that we can't have a moneymaker.
We can't have an
function
official,
To make money.
right, right. But we can have events that are community awareness, or we could team up with the Friends and do something that involved that sort of fundraising, I'm sure.
Or run it through the Scituate Rotary Foundation,
Or we could do that.
which is a 501c3.
Yep. So even with your affiliation, so you have the two sort of separate and
Yes, we
distinct
do.
entities so that you can do the same?
One's a club, one's a foundation.
One's the foundation, okay, so that's why. Good.
Okay. Jill, were you going to?
No.
No. I was hoping you were going to have a few words of wisdom for us.
She's here to observe and...
Okay, all right. So, Ms. Joan, I think you have the floor.
So we met, South Shore Elderly Services met on December 1st. And on November 18th, they had an annual meeting, which was very successful. $20,000 was donated for the special needs. Special needs is a fund that covers things that aren't covered otherwise, like things that insurance doesn't cover, like heat, different things like that. They're really, really growing, especially when they're working with disability people, adults. And they have more clients, so therefore they have to increase their employees. They had a 3%, 6% increase in pay for their employees. They're going to have a legislative breakfast on January 8th at the neighborhood club, and this is where they get a lot of the media and lawyers and different ones. And usually the board tries to go to that. For our board training, we had Bobby K. Davis, who's in charge of Visibility Committee. She has 31 members. And their main purpose is to help clients stay in their home. And they go around to different health centers, senior centers, where they're having health fairs, that type of thing, housing authority, to inform the seniors about, and the adults with disabilities, about what they can do, how they do it, and why they do it. And one of the things that they're doing this Christmas is, and there was a big article in the paper about it, is at the Hanover Mall, they had ornaments on the tree, which was near Sears, with different things for seniors that different seniors wanted, because South Shore Elderly, of course, they have a lot of clients, and they really know which clients, things that they need, that they can help them with. And then you can get the ornament, buy the gift, and then right there is where the police and all, they will take care of wrapping it and making sure that South Shore Elderly gets it.
That's great.
And the Home Instead Senior group, they gave 125 ornaments for requests. So I went there the other day, and the ornaments are all gone.
Yeah.
I did
So that's a good thing, right?
Isn't that
People
wonderful?
picked them up to buy it.
They've all been taken, and so
I
I
had
thought
the
that was
same
great.
experience, Joan.
Yeah.
I went in and there was nothing on the tree.
Yep.
That's pretty exciting.
And then St. Luke's and the clergy have been working with, along with the social worker, because we usually do a tree, and a lot of times it's for kids. Well, a lot of, like, Carolina Hill and different places say, we get overwhelmed with stuff because everybody's doing it. And so he contacted Laura and said, what? And so she said, the seniors, people don't do much for the seniors, and also the teenagers that are in need. So what she suggested is that we have a tree, and there's a list of different things that they can bring in, gift cards. So like Stop and Shop, you can use for gas, you can use for food, Walmart, the kids, what the kids like, Target and different ones. So what we're doing is we'll buy a card and then we'll put it on the tree, and then Laura will come and get them. So I think that's a great thing. So there's a lot of good things going on this season. And
Where's
then
the tree?
We want to remind that we are having a community dinner at St. Luke's, and it's a Sunday after Christmas, which is the fourth Sunday, so we're going to have meatloaf and hash brown potatoes, green beans and salad, peppermint ice cream with chocolate
Ooh, yum.
and chocolate cookies.
Where is the tree that you were referring to with the,
For the gifts, the gift cards, where are you putting the?
We have it in
St.
St. Luke's.
St. Luke's?
Okay.
We always do a tree, and this is that's what we do. We wanted to do something that was really needed, and so the clergy are always in touch with Laura, the social worker, and that's what she suggested to our.
Good idea.
So we're doing that.
Great.
Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you, Joan. Betty?
Hi there.
Hi.
Friends of Scituate Seniors had, the day after Thanksgiving, a very successful holiday craft fair. So a lot of people were working on that. What's upcoming in the spring for the Friends is a golf tournament that's in the planning stages now, and you'll be hearing more about that in the new year. But it's going to be June 17th. And let's see, we have a news blast now that's coming out to our members probably twice monthly. And what we'll try to do is include activities or feature things that are going on here at the senior center. Linda or the staff will let us know what they might like us to emphasize, because we hope to get it out to our members twice a month. That's about it. Good. Thank
Great.
you.
Is the golf event likely to be at Widow's Walk?
Yes, at Widow's Walk.
Is it likely to be a dinner afterwards, or?
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
It'll be a luncheon
Okay.
in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sandy's going to be in charge of that.
Uh-huh.
It's a morning.
So you'll be
Yeah,
there.
morning, 8:30 to
A nine-hole.
18.
18? Wow,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
All
If
kinds
you
of
want it.
prizes. And
This is a sheet that I made up.
Do you want one? That's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, if you need any help, I'm sure members of the committee here would be happy to help you guys out, so don't be bashful about asking. I know I've attended a good number of golf events as fundraisers, and they can raise some pretty significant money. Between sponsors who sponsor a hole and long drive, short
Raffles.
drive, three-putt, four-putt,
I
you
think
know,
we
whatever.
need him on the committee.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. So,
Great.
All right, good. Marty, I don't know, you never seem to get on the docket here as a liaison update, so we'll add you if you have anything that you want to add.
There's just a few things. I've got a couple of emails from the Friends in regards to the Building Reuse Committee.
Mhm.
They just had requested that it's sort of set up so that people can understand, so they know who's talking.
Mhm.
So we can have
Yes.
some, place cards in front of people, as well as,
Yeah.
Just introduction.
yeah, and
Just basic
introducing themselves as well.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, there was some question on their, I did verify, just as I was walking in the door here tonight, that, they are posting their agendas as they're supposed to,
Mhm.
and the minutes are available. They're sent into the
Mhm. Mhm.
clerk's office, so I did verify that all that's happening, so.
The minutes are in the selectman's office? Or
No, the clerk, it goes into the clerk's office. They get sent in, and Lorraine Devon actually gets, it goes through the selectman's office, but more importantly, it's filed with Kathy Curran, so.
Okay.
And then, there was another question, I think, but.
Televising. I know a number of people have asked me about having the meeting.
That's good.
filmed.
It would be a difficult task, I think, at this point.
To film it?
Yes.
Why?
Help.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we could talk about it in the future, but I do believe that, it would be, certainly it would be a nice thing to see, and I know it's an important committee,
Mhm.
but I think that John would agree that right now it's going to be it's a difficult task, because I did look into that as well
Uh-huh.
this afternoon, so.
Okay.
There's so many things going on, and there's a lot of conflicting nights. And as you see, John's about everywhere himself.
Yeah, I know.
Let's start filming John.
I've seen a
Tonight,
Immediately
I'll
after
be
this,
there,
that's
Tim.
right.
How many
Training.
students at the high school could be doing it?
Oh, I thought you were going to say how many students at the high school. 900. There's several. That's one of the great things about being at high school, is that we help with classes, community service hours, we have an internship program.
Right.
We have a formal way to get on the be paid for recording meetings. I don't think I'd ask them to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Are they available to you so that you know?
Yeah, so is it a manpower problem, or
Yeah.
it's not a funding
Well,
problem?
it's both, so there's a ZBA meeting that night, which means, and we're also doing a training session that night as well. And so it's just really a matter of schedule. So the further in advance that I know, the always the better it is. So knowing a few days ahead is a good thing. So I'll see what I can do on my end.
Okay.
Or even if we could capture some of the meetings.
Yeah.
Because as you know, sometimes you'll go to the meeting right after this meeting, and John's typically going to a different meeting, you know? so-
Yeah.
Or something. So,
That was Scituate TV at,
Yeah, allow me to give you the Gov one. So it's SCTV, the 4 letters,
SCTV.
at Scituate, MA, all one word, .gov.
Okay. All right, thank you.
The one thing I'll say is that there's only meeting minutes for 4 meetings, and, because I've gone up twice and asked about them.
okay.
And still, what I was looking for is Larry Gilmette's report. The meetings from that meeting aren't there, and that report isn't there.
Okay.
So,
Do you know the date?
when did you have your surgery, Dr. Price? It's the one you missed.
November 2nd, I think it was?
Yeah, sometime it was around
2nd or
when
5th.
he had his surgery, I remember, because they mentioned,
Yeah.
didn't they mention he was having surgery that day and he wasn't there?
Yeah, I know there have been a couple of little glitches with getting the minutes posted, but, you know, I know.
I'm glad I know specifically, because I asked in general,
Yeah.
and they said that, you know, the agendas were posted properly, and that the minutes are coming in. I don't know, I mean, obviously, November 2nd, I would imagine that the meeting minutes should already be in.
Well, October 8th is the last meeting, isn't it?
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And that was, did you check with the clerk's office?
Oh, yeah.
You did,
Dr.
okay.
Kathy, yeah. She said she was going to call Larry and try and get his report, because I thought it was a sort of a large report, that's,
Okay. There was an email that went out today to Karen Pritchard that I got copied on, so that may already be answered, but I want to look into, I'll look into that tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. All right, moving on. You know, Dale Balog isn't here tonight. She, I think, emailed Linda and myself earlier, said she wasn't feeling real well. And, you know, Dale, JD, and myself kind of comprise the space subcommittee, and, you know, we've kind of done some things independently. We've done a few things jointly, and I don't think we're ready yet to come to this committee with a definite piece like Linda and the program subcommittee came up with, and I want to thank Linda and the subcommittee for doing that. And Linda's proposal was very well received, very well done, and I think the other members of the Gates it's not really Gates reuse, I keep calling it Gates reuse, whatever that official name is. It was, I think it was enlightening to a lot of the members in terms of what, not only what, you know, we're accomplishing here now, but what we hope to accomplish in the future. So it was a well worthwhile presentation. So, you know, having said that, you know, and again, you know, I think the three of us have looked at certainly the programming piece that you people came up with, and tried to put maybe some numbers on that in terms of square footage. Looked at lots of other centers, both physically and then speaking to people at other centers about what's working for them, what's not working for them. There's one more that I want to go and visit. I hope to do it this month. It's just Newburyport, which opened about 3 weeks ago.
I actually went.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It was
great.
great.
You know, have you say a little bit about it when I get done. Is it Leanne, the director? Roseanne, nice lady. And she said, yeah, please come up and see it, and we're happy to show it to you and tell you all about it. So, so you know, looking at similar towns with similar demographics to what they've done, you know, there's anything anywhere from Rocklands, which is a little over, I think it's 9,000 square feet, right, JD, to Newburyport's, which is almost exactly identical in demographics to us, which is 16,700. So, you know, I think we would be cutting Linda and the programming people short if we started talking about anything less than 16 or 17,000 square feet. And if we start seriously considering things like respite care, counseling, oh, it's not really counseling, the thing that John Hemmett and his group do. Although, report, John, they did find a space up over in the Conway building, I think that they're going to use, at least temporarily,
Yes.
to do their, again, you have to be careful to call it counseling, because they're not psychologists or
Right,
social workers.
right.
They're just people who have an interest in helping other people who are going through either alcohol or drug addiction issues. So, so if we get serious about looking at other uses of the building, then we may have to be looking at something more in the area of 20,000 square feet. So, but again, we're not ready to come up with that exact
I think
numbering.
what's important when you're starting at the bidding, that you always look that we can expand.
Mhm.
So we can start at 16 or 17,
Mhm.
but we want to know that we can go up or out
Or
or
out,
around.
yeah.
I think that's very important.
Yeah.
But you're kind of better off to get as much as you can in the beginning.
For sure,
Because
construction
sometimes going
costs down.
back to town
Yeah.
hall doesn't
Yeah,
really work.
construction costs down. I mean, when you look at what the proposed center that was proposed for 2005 was, I think, like $3 million. And, you're talking at least probably 4 times that now.
Newburyport's was 6 million.
6 million for Newburyport, wow. Wow.
Really.
And also an interesting thing that they did do, they do have 16,000 square feet of space, but almost 2,000 of that is actually sort of an appendage, I guess, that they haven't finished yet and are going to rent out for a couple of years or until they feel they need it, which
Uh-huh.
may be for something like
Great
a
idea.
program we would like to
Get
start
an
with.
income.
So really, they finished for their own use and purposes right now, 14,000
Oh,
square feet.
okay.
And
Yeah, she had mentioned something
Very
about
nicely.
rental, and but she said, she would elaborate on that more when I went up there.
Well, they'd be renting building space anyway, as we could, too, multipurpose,
Yeah.
whatever the building is available during the weekends and
Right,
evenings for
right,
that, but this is
right.
separate space for
Yeah.
full-time
Yeah,
use.
okay. So, so that's kind of where we're at, JD, I would say, don't you? Do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
No, we want to put together a wish list.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. There's I think JD and I, we met a little bit earlier today, and I think we both agree with this. I mean, there's not much point in doing something that's not going to be what's going to serve the needs
Correct.
currently. And we know that the senior population in all these towns are going to be increasing dramatically in the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years. So, yeah, something that is going to work now, but maybe also something that has some space, some room to expand a little bit
Yeah.
as the need is
always
there.
want to have that option.
Yeah. So we'll chat some more and do some more work on it, and maybe in January come up with something more concrete along the lines of what Linda and the program subcommittee came up with, though. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I can go into a few other things if you want that have come across my desk in the last few days. I did have, I don't think this is talking out of school, I did have a nice conversation with Steve Coulter,
Yep.
Housing Authority.
Coulter, yeah.
Because I was hearing all kinds of things about, what they were possibly looking at, not looking at, and they are looking at trying to move ahead with expansion of housing in the central school area. Steve thinks probably in the area of somewhere 25 to 30 units. He said, don't worry. He said, if Gates doesn't happen for senior center, that we're not infringing upon the property that people were looking at, 10 years ago. He said there's plenty of land back there. So it was interesting. The way he kind of described to me, it sounded as though it was going to be more of a almost like a condo situation, where a private developer would build the units, and they would be sold at market value, and the town would obviously derive income from property tax and stuff like that. And so we all know that there's.
It's not going to be low income.
So they're not
Well,
using
no,
CPC?
but they're going to be.
Affordable.
You have to be careful when you use the word affordable. Not necessarily affordable 40B, but units that are affordable to somebody who wants to downsize from their 2,800
just
square foot house,
smaller.
but stay in town,
Yeah.
but something on a smaller scale. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and it sounds like they're, I don't know how much interaction they've had yet with Board of Selectmen, but it sounds like they want to move forward with it, and I think it sounds like a great idea to me. So Ledger, I don't know, did any of you see the article about the Hingham Senior Center in the Ledger a couple nights ago? Did a real nice article in the second section, I think, of the Ledger on the Hingham Senior Center. It talked about programming and quoted the director on several occasions in the piece, and just gave it kind of a nice overall view of what they're doing in Hingham. Didn't really talk about their potential expansion plans, though. I was kind of surprised that wasn't mentioned. Yeah, maybe because it's just not that really.
They haven't been able to buy the
concrete
building
yet.
they want.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, if we could get something like that in Ledger, you know, I think that would be great. I'm sure I have it at home. I'll bring it to you, Linda. Maybe we can contact the writer who authored that piece and maybe try to get a similar piece in for us. 'Cause, you know, we've talked about trying to get the word out to more people about what we do and what Linda does and programs and stuff like that. And that's kind of what that piece was all about, I think. So it was kind of neat. I've had several people approach me about possibly becoming members of the committee. So I think we still do have a couple of openings. Is that right?
Well, they come up again at the end of June.
Oh, it's June. I was thinking it was January. June. Okay. All right. So I'll let them know that, you know, come next summer would be the time to start to look into that process.
They can apply anytime it comes up.
That's good.
Isn't there still one opening though, Linda? As of now?
Technically, there is, but I just think
It would make a lot of sense.
it just is supposed to come up at the right time,
Correct.
cycle through, and then we can have that number filled. Because we didn't lose one, right? We didn't, because we filled one that we lost. But now we need to wait for the next round.
Okay. I'll just talk a little about Gates reuse. Again, Linda did a great job with her presentation. And, you know, Karen Pritchard, who's the chairperson, we've kind of tried to put a deadline on this whole thing because we don't want it to drag out forever. And our thinking at this point is that by the end of March, we'll have developed our proposal to bring to the Board of Selectmen in terms of what our thoughts are, what our recommendations are. And I think that's probably realistic, and the idea there is that then the Board of Selectmen would have a chance to look it over prior to town meeting in April, and not that there would be any funding, you know, articles for the April meeting, but maybe there could be at least a discussion, or if that's allowed by the moderator, about, you know, where this whole senior center issue is going. So that's kind of why we'd like to have it ready for April town meeting.
I think if we're going to present it, we have got to spend a lot of time and effort to be very clear, forceful, very aggressive of what we absolutely have to have. You know, I think you can't be laissez-faire, or you can't be, we would like. Now it's at the point, we have gone without this greater than 10 years. It's come up several times. We're at the point, having done our homework, I'm not saying we did it all now, this is what's essential we have for the community.
Yeah. I don't know what the parameters are of what is allowed in terms of presentations at town meetings.
Well,
I don't know if
everybody
that's up
gets
to
5 minutes,
the
don't they?
administrator or...
A town meeting?
A town meeting? How much time do you get at town meeting?
Well,
He lets
as a
some
speaker-
people get a lot.
To get on the list.
Yeah, some people get a lot more
But
than
have it
others.
as an item to be presented, not just somebody who wants to stand up at a microphone for 2 or 3 minutes and give a little bit of, a real formal presentation about, you know, where we're at this point in time with the senior center.
but I thought you were actually more talking about the actual Gates reuse as the first item.
Yes.
So
yes.
as it pertains to the senior center, but as a whole, that's a bigger
more to it,
picture.
right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, right,
That's
right.
And that committee does need to put a stake in the ground and try to come with some conclusions.
Oh, we will.
That's a good
We
option.
will.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that we will. So. And then as alluded to, there was a, which I was not really happy that town has to spend more money and do another study or another piece, but there was a proposal put out to a company, if you want to use those terms, to look at what the three entities who are being considered for gates, meaning Town Hall, Rec, and Senior, what this company feels that they need for space to conduct their business. And there are going to be interviews with people from all three, departments to get some input from them. And then, but this proposal, unless it was rewritten, says that the proposal must be received by Tuesday, December 15th. And Linda hasn't heard anything from them, and I certainly haven't. So I don't know whether that's a realistic.
December 15th, which is Monday?
Which is,
And we're talking about it now. And I'm talking about preparation so that we're a forceful presentation.
Yeah. But, again, this is just for, I think, the Gates reuse committees to kind of get their arms around, does Town Hall need 40,000 square feet? Does Rec need 15? Do we need 15? Or what? There's just like, no one really knows. I mean, I think we're probably of the three groups, probably the people who know kind of the most about what we think we need for area, but I don't think Town Hall had a clue.
They've just been living like they've living for so
Yeah,
long. I
right.
think they called it functional design, so they're literally looking at what each individual staff person does
Yeah.
and how much space they
Yeah.
need to do it, or what kind
Yeah.
of space they might need to do it, and just
So whether,
really look at
so whether this
designing properly around those positions.
Yeah.
That's it.
So whether this holds true to these dates or not, I don't know, because we were going to try to meet on the Thursday, the 17th, to review the results of their study and talk about it, but whether we do or not, I don't know. So anyway, this came up at a meeting I was at last night. I'm part of the library foundation, I guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention to the names, but I'm there to help them raise money. And one of the members said, Gordon, I hear, a fair amount of seniors that seem to be upset with the fact that, we kind of got in there and are getting our thing before the seniors are. And I said, I've heard maybe a little bit of that, but I don't really hear that much. I think I hear more that people are excited that there at least seems to be an effort, moving forward to resolve the senior issue. So I said, if you want, I'd be more than happy to bring the issue up at our meeting, and certainly for the listening audience, let them know that the library people, believe me, are very, very supportive of our issues. And as soon as they can free themselves up from their responsibilities with the library, they would be happy to join our effort, and I'm convinced of that. And the other piece of that is that they wanted me to be able to let you all know that the library project is within the budget. I think there's a kind of a consensus out there amongst a lot of people that they drive by the library and they say, oh my God, there's nothing left of that building, and we're going to be held, holding another override for another $2 or $3 or $4 million. That's not the case.
They have made the money that they need?
No. Right now, as of last night, there's about $875,000 of the $2 million that have been actually received. Now, there are pledges for another probably $300,000 or $500,000, but that's not money in the bank. But getting back to the construction thing is that when they went out to bid, and Marty can maybe help me with this, the bid came in apparently about $500,000 under what they thought it would. So the monies that were asked were approved by the town, but it came in at $500,000 less, and there were some additional contingencies that looked like there's another couple $100,000 there that they didn't need to spend. So so the extra cost to do the extra things because of the problems with the roof at the library are within the budget. And then they still have, I think, about $300,000 to kind of play with if other issues come up.
It's actually a little more than that.
Is it more?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got about $875,000 of contingencies within the budget itself. So everything should be fine. They found some hidden stuff that shouldn't have been approved when the building was originally built, and it was pretty scary looking. So all of that has gone away, and if you do drive by right now, it looks like, where is it? Not even
Underground?
Most of the shelves also fallen down, so, but everything should be okay.
Yeah,
as far as-
and again, and the takeaway is, the seniors can be comfortable to know that no one's going to be coming back to them and asking them for any more money. They're convinced, and apparently, the library...
Jesse Finney?
Huh?
The library director?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Jesse apparently has a very sharp pen and is very good with numbers and is very good working with contractors and architects and everything. And she is doing everything she can and to make sure that it's coming in at budget or even less than budget to this point. So just want to let everyone here and everyone who might watch this presentation out there know that the seniors are supportive of the library. Library people are supportive of what we're trying to do, and I think it's going to be a nice mix of when we can get everything going in the.
Something I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah.
So on a related subject, we just got the school numbers in, and it was $9 million under budget, so.
Really?
As far as the bids, $9 million. Yeah, for school.
Wow.
So a certain amount of that's going to go into a contingency, but that was very, very good news.
Yeah.
You know, very good news.
For sure. Wow.
Wasn't it nice that the library could make such a nice transition to Pier 44? It's lovely.
Mm-hmm. And it's apparently working very well.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss it when it's not there.
I know.
I can walk right down from my
Yeah.
house. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, I think that's about all the news I had to bring to you, and so if we want to move down, maybe that was old business.
I think that was old business.
Okay,
We're going to
so-
say that.
Yeah.
That was old business.
That was old business.
Do we, any questions about anything that I brought up or said, or?
I have a question, about maybe Marty can add. When you mentioned the senior housing behind Central Park and a developer would be building it, how was that affected by CPC funds? Because I thought that's how they were going to build some of the housing.
It's an equation that I don't quite grasp. There's an affordable part of the CPC, so yes, a lot of that comes in through that. There's the Affordable Housing Trust as well. So all of this comes into play. The only reason I know is I was a liaison up until recently to housing as well, and there was a plan to build on Kent Street, and for some reason they've been sort of pushed away from that area. So I have a feeling it's the same setup that's going to be over sort of by the library there. So I don't know exactly how the funding goes, but I know there's the Affordable Housing Trust, and you've got the affordable part of CPC, which hasn't been used really.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been using it on open space and things like that, but there's percentages that can be used from that. So yes, to answer the question, I don't know exactly how the percentages break down, but CPC certainly is part of that equation.
I think Steve mentioned that.
Steve could tell you exactly.
When he spoke, but, so. Okay, any new business that anyone wants to, any committee members need to bring up or want to bring up or anything?
Might want to elect a new secretary.
Thank you for that reminder, Pat.
Or at least a temporary one.
Has there
back in
been
April?
nominations for a new secretary? Anyone, I mean,
We need one.
we could share it on a monthly basis. I guess that's probably the
You could do that. I took it for only 6 months, but if you want to just share for 3 months, I can take it back in April.
take it back for 3 months?
No, I could take it back in
After 3
April.
months.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So just cover for her for 3 months.
Yeah. All right, so do we have 3 people that are willing to do the next 3 months?
Backup secretary.
I'm traveling too, so.
Are you? That would be good to know. Are you gone for,
Long period?
Excuse me?
Long period of time?
I'm away in the middle of January in the month of March, so I
Okay.
wouldn't volunteer.
okay.
I'm leaving February 6th to
Wait a minute.
Why don't we just postpone the meetings until...
Don't you
And
have,
like would have it last year, I only missed 1 meeting because you postponed it.
Was it snow? Yeah, it was snow.
Well, Audrey, you
Just
can
got to
go
make sure you have a
January
quorum,
then.
that's all. So maybe it's a good
Yeah,
time to
right.
talk about this.
I follow him. When he's
2.
not here, I have to be available.
That's right. She has a role.
yeah, so we need what for quorum? For meeting?
Because that's an
Half.
important number.
One more than half would be good, but half doesn't. So that's 5.
Uh-huh.
If we have 8.
I'm not going anyway.
Well, how would you like to be our secretary for the
I'll
month?
give it a shot.
Dale
Okay.
isn't here.
I mean, it doesn't, you know, don't, you don't have to be
That's right.
putting down every word, don't worry about that. I mean, I look at some committee meeting minutes, it's like one-liner.
Which is true, but honestly, it's on YouTube and you can watch it, even if you don't want to.
I'm not offering anybody, I'm only saying Dale is usually very consistent with meetings. So that would add to the quorum that you were in about. You'll have enough.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
So you'd be okay with 5? Yeah.
All right, so we got January covered. Anything else?
I'm not a snowbird.
Is this going to be a short meeting tonight? Anything else?
Nope.
No? Well, you know,
That we adjourn?
before we adjourn, I want to wish all of you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. To our audience, to our
Thank you.
television audience, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I think 2016 is going to be an exciting year for the seniors in Scituate. And
Hope so.
I'm really looking forward to seeing some really positive things happen. And I know you all are as well, so. I'll take that motion for an adjournment if you want to make it now.
I make a motion the meeting be adjourned.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
Okay.